Welcome to the Anxiety Specialist channel, where we discuss the science of psychology and science-based tools for treating and eliminating anxiety. Hey there, if you've landed here, it might be because the fear of throwing up is interfering with your life in some way. Stick around, because today we're diving into emetophobia, what causes it and how you can work through it. Emetophobia isn't just a fear of vomiting itself, though that can be a part of it. It's a fear that centers around the act of throwing up or being around others who are nauseous or might vomit. You might have come across terms like fear of vomiting or sickness phobia or a specific phobia of vomiting. People with this find themselves engaging in checking, like watching closely for people who seem sick in a crowd or a group, always thinking about how you feel in your body, frequently checking your temperature or asking someone else to check it, needing reassurance about not getting sick, checking on how others feel to see if they might be sick, checking food expiration dates and throwing away old food, always looking for bathrooms and sitting near exits, making sure food is cooked a lot, maybe too much, or looking up news about sickness outbreaks or symptoms online, as well as avoiding things like avoiding talking about topics to do with throwing up, always needing to be with a safe person or avoiding others, not sleeping away from home, avoiding being close to someone who is sick even if it's family, avoiding relationships because they were sick before, avoiding bathrooms or anything that might make you throw up, covering your ears if you hear someone throwing up, avoiding things that might make you sick like getting pregnant or eating, avoiding certain foods or eating very little, not going to school or doing activities that might cause sickness. And you might try to prevent throwing up from happening. You might use medications to prevent throwing up or make you feel better, chew gum or have mints for that cooling effect, always having water and sipping it when feeling sick, carrying a safety kit with things like medicine, mints, water, and a sick bag, not wanting kids to go to school or daycare in case they get sick, doing mental things to feel safe, like thinking certain thoughts or avoiding bad thoughts, doing small actions like swallowing a lot or cleaning a lot to avoid germs, like washing hands or cleaning counters. It's got a lot of overlap with obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD, due to shared fears and behaviors, especially contamination type OCD. Emetophobia can trigger obsessive thoughts about contamination, illness, or fear of losing control over bodily function. Some develop rituals or compulsive behaviors to avoid situations that could induce vomiting. This might include strict diets, lots of hand washing, or avoidance of certain places or foods, just like with contamination OCD as a problem. And both emetophobia and OCD often involve avoidance and safety behaviors. Someone with emetophobia might avoid situations or things they associate with vomiting, much like how someone with OCD might perform rituals to alleviate anxiety or prevent perceived harm. While it seems like a big overlap, emetophobia is actually more closely associated with panic disorder, in my opinion, as there's often a fair bit of anxiety triggered by sensations in the body. Sensations that get more intense when we get anxious, which is the same core mechanism as panic disorder. The fear can spike up from various triggers, and for some, it feels pretty constant from being triggered by body sensation, which happen all the time. It's fairly common, affecting about 7 to 8% of the population. Interestingly, it affects almost exclusively females. I'm pretty sure all of the clients I've seen with it were female, so that tracks. So what causes emetophobia? For many, this fear has been around for a while, often occurring during childhood or adolescence. Difficult experiences like a severe illness or witnessing someone else vomiting can kickstart this fear. Additionally, some might have a particularly sensitive stomach or have had negative associations with vomiting in early life. The fear of losing control, the discomfort associated with vomiting, or the fear of being embarrassed in public due to vomiting are common underlying factors. And like other phobias, there can be an evolutionary component. Avoiding potential sources of illness was a probable survival strategy for our ancestors. The fear of vomiting can vary from a mild discomfort to severe phobia, with some feeling overwhelming dread at the thought of vomiting, going to great lengths to avoid situations that might trigger it, even if it's very disruptive for your everyday life. Is emetophobia fixable? If you're here, chances are you're looking for ways to tackle this fear, and the good news is it is treatable. What you'll need is an anxiety reducing process. This can be done with a therapist or online. I'll put a link in the description to our anxiety reducer guide. It covers everything you need to know about anxiety and the process for reducing it. Absolutely free. The process for sorting emetophobia involves a few key techniques following a step-by-step process. And yes, exposure therapy, gradually facing the fear, is part of it. But don't worry, we'll start small. We're talking just exposure to words and thoughts related to vomiting initially. Then images, sounds that are related to vomiting, and then videos. I can walk you through these first bits, then you can get back into any activities or places that you've been missing out on due to the fear of coming into contact with any sickness or vomit. You might be wondering, exposure seems a really scary thing to do I absolutely have to do it? Well, while your prefrontal cortex can use anxiety reducing techniques to reduce your anxiety straight off the bat, your midbrain only learns from experience. It's still freaking out back there. Its adrenal signal is just being blocked by the prefrontal cortex thanks to the new techniques that I can show you. To not have it react when faced with anything vomit related, you'll need it to have experiences of encountering these and being safe. Give your midbrain that experience, and provided there are no safety behaviors, like say holding your breath so as not to breathe any bugs in, and you'll get the much desired freedom to do whatever you'd like. It's also really helpful to go through a process that allows your brain to no longer fear the sensations in your body that feel linked to nausea and vomiting, but are actually anxiety symptoms. Now, the exposure process might seem daunting, but remember, it's about taking small steps. Think of it as teaching your brain that these triggers aren't as disgusting or dangerous as it believes them to be. So, if you're ready to begin tackling this fear, I've got a series of videos lined up just for that. We'll start with simple exercises involving words associated with vomiting. Nothing overwhelming, just a step towards taking control. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the upcoming videos. Join me as we navigate through this together, step by step. You've got this.